He made love to her with the hope that she would conceive for him after he is dead without her knowing. This is the joy of every man, that his name and legacy lingers on the surface of the earth forever. She finally found out that he has been diagnosed with liver disease, and chances are that he will not survive. Finally, death came knocking, and his wishes came to pass as she bore a son for him. The irony of it all is that they just met a couple of days before he died, and she could give him all. So how did we get here? It all started from here. This rich kid, Chris, has no regard for anyone, not even his father, Chief Madueke, who has always wished that his only child becomes a responsible young man. The problem on ground now is that his son was supposed to attend the board meeting with him today, but the rich kid already has a birthday party to attend. He told his father that he is hosting one of his girlfriends, which was more important to him, so the board meeting can wait. Chris was already becoming a mess of himself with his drinking habits. Even though he hosted the party, his girlfriend wouldn't allow him go inside the club because he was embarrassing everyone in the party, so she angrily left him. Chris was already drunk and couldn't manage to get home. Unfortunately for the rich kid, he got involved in an accident on his way home. Debola brought his friend home from the hospital. He was lucky that he survived the accident, and he needed to rest. His maid, Grace, came to welcome her boss, as she was also just resuming duty. Chris got inside to find his house still in a mess. Grace told him that she wasn't feeling too well, but he didn't care. If this young man could talk to his father rudely, then who is this lady here who is old enough to be his mother, not to be put in her place? Don't forget that anyone who calls himself a lion must also know that he was given birth to by a lion. His father had to suspend his monthly allowance since he wouldn't become a responsible young man. But come to think of it, should we blame rich kids who spend frivolously when we have their parents to blame for placing them on excessive allowances without working for it? So why wouldn't they become useless? Chris was already grounded financially, so he was already thinking about how to work in his father's company. Debola isn't opportuned in life like Chris, so his perception about life hits different. He advised his friend to be ready to face the economic hardship of the country if he decides to act stubbornly on his father's decision. This dude was already in debt: his maid's salary, his damaged vehicle at the mechanic workshop, his light bills, and others. Life was becoming tougher for him. Charles came back to find his house more dirty than the last time. He met Grace lying helplessly on the bare floor. She was dying of appendicitis and needed money to go for an operation. Charles felt for her and gave her the last kobo he had. Grace told him before leaving that she will send her daughter to replace her on duty, pending when she resumes. I can tell you that no matter how broke a man is, he will always find spare cash to please his bad habits. Charles is a sex addict. He had to call a hooker for the night to warm his bed. The next morning he woke up very late after he had a heavy duty at night. He already agreed to resume work at his father's company, and resuming late on the first day shouldn't be an excuse. Grace's daughter, Prosper, resumed duty the next morning as promised by her mother when she heard someone yelling at the top of his voice. Chris thought it was the hooker still in his house when he saw a young lady. He wanted to know what audacity she had to go into his kitchen without letting him know. Prosper apologized and introduced herself by telling him her name. This is the first time this dude is hearing a lady bear the name Prosper. He was still trying to capture why on earth her parents will give her the name of all names in the world that a woman can bear. At that point, she already knew the kind of character her mother has been tolerating for years as he condescended on her. Just then, she knew that the job wasn't meant for her. Chris resumed work with the high hopes of having a position at the manager level, only to find himself placed as a junior-level staff in the IT department. Chris came home that night to see his father. He pleaded with his father to help with one of his cars, which can help facilitate his mobility, to work quicker since his car was still at the workshop. His father denied him access at an instant and told him that except he becomes responsible, then can Chris get his support. No night goes without a woman to warm his bed. This time he was unlucky with this hooker, as she had the intentions to steal from him, including his phones. Fortunately for him, Prosper was around when the hooker was about to escape as they bumped into each other. The phone fell off her hand and cracked. She was about to run with the other items when Prosper raised an alarm that woke him up. Chris wanted to treat her like a thief with the baton in his hand, until Prosper made an utterance that provoked him. So he left the hooker and faced her for using such an inducing utterance on him as the thief tried to escape. Finally, Chris's car was back from the workshop, although he was not happy that he had to sell his expensive MacBook to fix his car since his father wouldn't help him. Chris was already broke beyond imagination. The guys knew that the only way out now is to impress the old man, so he had to bring his A-game to his father's company. I can tell you that these rich kids are way more intelligent than you think. The reason behind this can be as a result of their environment and educational background, but in most cases, they become reluctant as long as their demands are met by their parents. Chris gave them a brilliant idea they had never thought about that will help grow the company, and everyone was impressed. Chief was happy with the changes he saw in his son over a short period of time. All he wants from his son now is to get a decent woman, and he is willing to give him back all he has seized from him. He wanted to make out with one of his old-time girlfriends to present to his father, but she wasn't cut out for his kind of lifestyle with the way he cheated on her with her best friend and left. Chris was already set for work one morning. Prosper made a simple meal for him, but he rejected the meal before it was even served. This was one of the biggest rejections a woman can ever face by rejecting her food. What's more sickening is that she used her money to prepare the meal since he is broke, and they had no food in the house, and he is yet to pay her salary. He then asked her a question if she thinks that he is a bad person, and he wanted an honest answer. Prosper doubts if he truly wants to hear her opinion. He told her that she is very, very beneath him, and her opinion wouldn't change the price of stocks in the market. Those words hurt her as she walked up to him to tell him her mind. First, she started with the question of why he has to be down, right, condescending, and disrespectful without home training. She had to remind him that she has been feeding him for recent days, but still his broke ass can't keep him humble. Chris just stood there and watched her until she remembered that she was talking to her employer. She had apologized before it cost her mother's job. He asked her to clean his bathroom and also get him water to drink. She came back to find him on call arranging for the next hooker for the night. Sometimes I wonder where he gets the money to pay these girls. His lifestyle really irritates her, but she just wants to mind her business. Just then she heard a heavy fall in the living room. Chris was unconscious for some minutes as she managed to take him inside his room, undress him, and make herbs for him to take. This dude woke up and was angry with the fact that she took off his clothes. She explained that she had to do what was right at the moment since he doesn't have money for the hospital bills. This alone bruised his ego. He got angry and told her to leave his room. Chris has not resumed work for the past 5 days now. Neither did he call or pick anyone's call at the office. This is the height of irresponsibility to his father. He retrieved the car from him and also cut his salary by 50%. After much thought, Chris thought they could make something work out. He offered her a deal of 500,000 naira. All she needs to do is to act like his girlfriend so that he can get his car back and allowances back. In the end, she agreed, only if he agreed to pay her 1 million naira. That shouldn't be a problem for the rich kid. The night came to have dinner with his parents. His father thought he had picked a random girl from the street to come try their luck, but there was something different about Prosper and how she had read every article about him in the magazines. Prosper also has good plans about growing big in the fashion industry. He was about to go inside after the dinner when he welcomed her to the family. This was great news not only for Chris, but also for her because she has just earned herself an investor into her business. The very next day, his father did not hesitate to welcome him as a board member in the company. Not only that, he brought back his car even when he never expected it. This was the beginning of a new life for this gentleman. I can tell you that everything good will begin to happen in a man's life the moment he finds the right woman. More good news kept coming. His allowance has just been reinstated. She was so happy for him and hugged him until they realized something. They just may make a perfect couple. Things were beginning to take a new dimension for Chris. He just can't stop thinking about her. This came as a big surprise to Debola, though, because he never saw this coming. Prosper could also feel the same chemistry. She swore never to have anything with this guy, and the only way to end this is to distance herself. She wanted the remaining part of the money for the deal so that she can leave. Chris wouldn't watch her go now that he had found love. Before they had a deal, they vowed never to fall in love. She wanted them to stick to the deal as she left. Prosper stood at the door in deep thoughts when she heard him fall again. What could be the cause of his frequent unconsciousness? He just came back from the hospital. The doctor reported that it was a mere infection of his chest and lungs, and it was nothing serious. But he wasn't telling her the truth. The truth is that he is going to die soon. Every man wants his name and legacy to live forever, so he made love to her like it was his last on earth, perhaps that she may conceive. Chris has a liver disease, and his father was trying everything possible with the doctor. There is no other way than a liver transplant, and his chances for survival are 50-50. Chris kept hiding it from her, perhaps because he wanted to feel what true love is before he dies, and she may leave him when she finds out. Have you ever wondered how it feels that you're going to die any moment from now? The pain and grief that you're going to leave everyone behind, or, to some, the joy of an everlasting rest. He has his last words to tell the woman his heart that for once in his life beats for. Now he wished he could bring back the hands of time to right back the wrongs he did. This is the first chance everyone wants to correct on their deathbed. His father wanted to fly him overseas so he could get the best medical treatment, but what was the essence since he was still going to die? Prosper later found out about his predicament, and she promised to stay by his side until his last day. They already had a dream for what the future holds for them, but now life has those dreams cut short without giving another chance. Like she promised, she came back over and over again to take care of him and be by his side. She told him that she thinks she is pregnant. She thinks she cannot do this alone. But what better joy can a young man like him have, that he will be called a father, even when he leaves this world? Now he can rest with the hope that she finds comfort with his words. Shakespeare once said, "When he shall die, take him and cut him out in little stars, and he will make the face of heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with night and pay no worship to the garish sun." Yes, death is inevitable, but deep down everybody wants to have a taste of it, and perhaps just wake up again to understand the opportunities every day brings to us. Now we can say, in memory of Chris Madwek, who lived a life of whatever you may call it now. The good thing is that his wishes came through. Prosper had a son for him to carry on his name, and forever he shall remain in her heart.
Thanks for watching. Please comment your thoughts, and also like and share this video for more super amazing videos that we are bringing to you. And if you're watching from our YouTube channel, you can also subscribe and turn on your notification for more. Thank you.